In Afghanistan, a deadly airstrike on a drug rehabilitation hospital in Kabul has killed at least 400 people. Another 250 others are wounded. Rescuers are struggling to help the wounded and recover victims from the debris. Afghanistan blames Pakistan for the strike, but Pakistan denies it targeted civilian sites. Our South Asia correspondent Selena Shivji has been looking at this strike. It is the latest in what has been a weeks-long campaign between the neighboring countries. What exactly happened here?
Well, we do know that the strike hit at about 9 p.m. last night local time, and we heard that from the injured, from patients who were staying at this drug rehab hospital in Kabul, which has officially about 1,000 beds, although there were perhaps more than double that number of patients inside the hospital. Now, the wounded have been saying that they heard bombs hit just after evening prayers at around 9 o'clock, and that many of them reported seeing the walls and the ceilings fall down on them, and somehow they got out of that rubble. So we do know that there is a very high number of casualties in this, and you can see from the visuals from the area that the hospital, what was once a hospital, is now collapsed in many areas and very much in ruins. Now, Afghan officials are blaming Pakistan for this strike and talking about the high number of casualties, hundreds of people in this, as well as many, several hundred injured as well. It's hard to, of course, verify those numbers, but clearly it is a deadly strike. Pakistan is saying that, no, it did not officially target this hospital, that its strikes on Monday night were focused on military installations only. And Islamabad also says that those strikes were focused on what it calls technical support infrastructure and ammunition storage facilities, it says, in Kabul. So it is denying that it is targeting these civilian attacks, but it is clear that this is very much a dramatic escalation of the conflict that we've seen over the last 2.5 weeks between these two neighboring countries.
What is it about? Why are they fighting?
Well, it broke out late last month, just 2 days before the war in Iran broke out. But this has been simmering for months and even years, I would say, ever since the Taliban took over in Afghanistan in 2021. And what has happened since then in Pakistan is an increasing number of insurgent attacks, of militant attacks on sites, and particularly more recently, sites on that had high civilian casualties. There was a bombing, a suicide bombing at a mosque in Islamabad, a Shia mosque there in early February. And Pakistan, Islamabad, sees this as Afghanistan's fault. They blame the Taliban for harboring this type of terrorism and insurgency and promoting it across the border into Pakistan. So that is why Islamabad in late February actually launched airstrikes on numerous large cities in Afghanistan. And that is when this fighting broke out. Afghanistan responded by border clashes, and ever since then, in the last 2.5 weeks, according to the United Nations, there has been an increasing number of not just military installations targeted, but as a byproduct of this conflict, that civilians have been targeted as well. So at least before this deadly strike, the United Nations said at least 75 people have been killed, about 115,000 displaced. And basically, international calls for ceasefire have been ignored by both sides. There are regional powers as well, like China, have been pushing for some restraint. They are doing that again today. Chinese officials calling for some restraint in all of this and for both sides to come and sit down and talk about some sort of ceasefire, but that seems a very distant possibility at this point in time.
All right, Selena Shivji, thank you very much.